Good morning and welcome back to the show, everybody. This is episode number 222 of the All Around Growth Podcast, a show that provides insight and tools to building the life and homestead of your dreams. My name is Rob Kaiser and I am your host. On today's episode, we are going to talk about family goals, and this is part 4 of a short series that we are doing on the 2022 goal setting workbook. For those of you who may not have caught the other 3 episodes, they are the introduction to this series, episode number 219, released on November 4th. We also talked about financial goals, and also released on November 4th was part 2, physical goals. Yesterday we talked about part 3, physical development goals, and today we are talking about family goals. And before we get started, I want to preface everything by saying much of what I'm talking about today is Dan Miller's content pulled from his 2022 goal setting workbook, which will be linked to in the show notes. It is available for free. So I would highly encourage you to download the workbook, go through it with myself and some of us here in the audience, and also join the Telegram group at t.me/allaroundgrowth to chime in and talk about it with us. So as we read from page 10 in this workbook, we read, "The second law of thermodynamics. Things left to themselves tend to deteriorate. Great relationships don't just happen. They come as the result of making deposits toward the success you want." Now, success was a word that had quotes around it. Why might that be? Because success is subjective. I think we all view success in different ways, and my family goals, which I will allude to it a little bit, undoubtedly I'll end up talking about some of them, but my goals are going to be different than your goals, and the process though is the same, and that is what is important. A couple other questions that we can talk about and refer to from the workbook to get our minds thinking is, what are the kind and length of vacations you will take this year? What would be the goal for free time with family and friends? You may try to spend the time you normally spend watching a favorite TV show and spend that time with a spouse, a child, or a friend. Don't say you want to be a better mom, dad, or parent. Define what that means. You may decide to spend 20 minutes each night with your child, or one Saturday morning a month doing what he or she wants to do. How about scheduling one overnight event with your spouse every quarter? This, guys, this is interesting. Before we start looking at our 3-year goals with specificity, we read, "Family is the smallest form of government. The current challenges in our government are merely a reflection of the breakdown of the American family. We start with the family and work up, not the other way around." This is beautiful. And this actually reminds me of what we read when we start off this workbook on the very first page, right? "I'm convinced we can create a massive ripple effect to contribute to the solutions for a better life for ourselves, our families, our country, and ultimately the world." That's a bold statement for a goal-setting workbook, but I do not think it is untrue. I firmly believe that the more work that we put into ourselves, the cleaner we maintain our own side of the street, so to speak, the better off we are ourselves, the better off we are within our families, the better off we are within our communities, and the better off we are worldwide. This is not something to be taken lightly. And I'm sure a number of people who are working through this workbook start it, don't complete it. That's fine. Before I get too judgmental, life happens on life's terms, and I understand that. But I suspect for the people that downloaded this workbook, started it, stopped it, that's likely consistent with a lot of other actions in their lives. I know it is for me. That's been the case. I'm changing that. And like I've talked about in the past, like I've talked about throughout the entire show, all 221 past episodes, this point in my life, this point in our lives, right, is a point that we've reached because we are trying to grow beyond where we currently are in this moment, right here and right now. And if you've found that you've done some of these things, like I talked about earlier, started something to simply not complete it and have that be added to your laundry list of unfinished projects, it doesn't have to continue to be that way. That is not who we are. We are not our past, and our past does not define us. Every day, if we choose to act, we have the ability to change. The potential within ourselves is limited only by our own mind. But back to family goals. This isn't just our immediate family, it's our relationship to others. For those of us that have children, it's the development of children. Thinking about where we want to live. Why? So when we look at 3-year goals, we want to look at specificity. We want to look at metrics. When we do all of this, we want to think about SMART goals. And I don't know if we're going to touch on that in this particular workbook, but I've talked about that in the past. I think I've done some episodes on SMART goals, and I'll try to look back on that and source those and link to them in the show notes. Another quote: "Your success as a family, our success as a society, depends not on what happens in the White House, but on what happens inside your house." That was a quote by Barbara Bush in the commencement address at Wellesley College. Like many of the other goals, we start with a 3-year goal in mind. We break that down into a 1-year goal. And then, furthermore, we break that down into actions that we can take today. Some examples are planning a date night with your spouse or a loved one, spending X amount of hours each week doing something with them. Now, a family for me is an interesting It's an interesting topic. Okay, I'm at the time of this recording, November 9th, 2021. I'm a single man. I'm in my early 40s. I am working on building a homestead with my parents in Northeast Ohio. I don't talk about family much. I'm just going to dive right into this. This is somewhat uncomfortable, but life is about dealing with and approaching our comfort zones. I've mentioned before that I have a girlfriend. And I'm not shy about telling people that I'm involved in a relationship, because I am. The relationship that I'm involved in is somewhat unique, I suppose. And I might as well just spill the beans right now since we're getting towards the end of the episode. But my girlfriend is married, right? I am in a polyamorous relationship. And I'm not necessarily, well, not necessarily. I'm not opposed to dating someone else should the opportunity and circumstances be appropriate for the context of my life. But this is proving difficult because because most people presume that if you're dating, you are not open to dating. But that's not the case. And oftentimes I'm reluctant to go into the level of detail that I just shared with you with most people for fear of judgment, fear of, I don't know, just basically fear of judgment. But this is the life that I've chosen. This is the life that I'm planning. This is the life that I'm acting upon. And the relationship and familial goals that I have all factor into the relationship dynamics that are a part of my life. And this is one of them. Now, how does this work? It works as well as any other relationship might work. You get out of it what you put into it. And accordingly, it's working well. And for some reason, I felt like I needed to get that off of my chest. And it's relevant because she and her husband, he are both a part of our family now. And with the homesteading that we're trying to do, let me correct myself. With the homesteading that we are doing and the lives that we are building, it's an unconventional life in the 21st century. And it's difficult because the ways in which people used to live and homestead in the past often involved larger family dynamics and different ways of living. And as this has all come to be over the past few years, we've all just come to realize that in order to achieve unconventional life goals, there are times when it's necessary to engage in an unconventional life path. Now, I'm not suggesting that you go out and become a polyamorous individual, and not at all. But your life may be entirely conventional, and that's okay. I'm not here to talk about our lives, pass judgment on anyone. But if you're trying to build the life and homestead of your dreams, chances are you're surrounded by people that are not. And subsequently, you have become one that is living an unconventional life. Even if it's in your own mind, then that's okay. Working through goals like this is not something entirely unconventional, but perhaps the approach and the way that we're doing it and the time frame and trying to have it done 48 days prior to the end of the year, which is coming up on November 14th, is. And if you are interested in joining us on this path, then, like I said, check out the show notes. There's a link to this workbook in the show notes available for your download for free. And I would also strongly encourage you to join us over in the Telegram chat. We're also on Facebook, but I'm personally am not all that active on Facebook. There are some users on or in the Facebook group who are not on the Telegram chat. So if Facebook is more your style, then by all means check out the group there. But if you like what you hear and you think that this show may be of value to other people in your life, I would encourage you to share it with them. Share it on social media. Share it however you like, in whatever manner you choose. I'm hoping that as this continues to progress and is a part of my life, I'm hoping that it continues to be a part of yours. And I'm hoping that the community that exists already as a part of it continues to grow, because there's a lot of good that's taking place there. And every time I see that, I feel very grateful for the people that I've connected with, the people who aren't around quite as frequently as they used to be. And also I feel gratitude for the people who have yet to discover everything that we're doing here. So with that, I hope you have a great day today, a great rest of the week. And guys, I'll catch you on the next show tomorrow. This is Rob Kaiser, and thank you.